no matter where you think life is taking you, and no matter how hard things get, one, you're always gonna come out on the other side. Like, it's passing, like we're actively passing through it. And two, that, where you are right now is like not your life. Like, where I am right now in my 20s is not how my life is gonna be when I'm in my 30s, no, my 40s.
Hey, welcome back to your Divine Glow podcast. It's your girl, Ashley, and today we have a special guest. My special guest is a New Orleans native. She is a authentic and insightful podcast host of Read the Room podcast. She guides her listeners through profound moments, challenges, and joys of young adulthood and post-grad life with transparency and wisdom. She strongly believes in cultivating community and establishing authenticity. She always has a great word for you and great energy to match. Please welcome Miss Alexis Reed to the space. Hey, girlfriend.
Hello, that was so good. Oh man, I forgot what I sent you, and that sounded real better.
Yeah, girl. I had to make it real good for you because you are a ball of energy, a good energy, and I'm just like I had to bring it for you. So thank you so much for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
When I always tell people, the listeners, I'm like, okay, how did we meet, right? And this is another one of my divine connections, I would like to call it. Her and I were in Comfort's B group this past semester, and I had no idea who was in this group. Like I said before, no idea. But when Alexis opened her mouth, I was like, who is this girl? Like, first of all, what drew me was her glasses, because I wear glasses. I was and I think you have like a few different pairs, so you swap them out.
I do. I used to like always keep two pairs on me because when I started wearing glasses, my mama got me two pairs at a time because I was like a kid. So she was like, if something happens, you have to have a backup pair. So I think it's just instilled in me, and so now I can have like a bunch of cute glasses, and the websites be having like buy one get one and stuff. So I do switch them out. You're not tripping. I do switch them out.
Now people are like, oh, I like those. So like every time I pull up to B group, I'm like, yeah, which one she got on today? So yeah, it was like, and everybody else, I'm sure they can attest to whoever's in the group, like you are so knowledgeable, and just the way that you speak is very captivating. I would say you do have a gift for that, for sure. And I don't know, because like sometimes we don't even realize it because it comes so natural to us. And you're like, girl, what are you talking about?
But okay, yeah, sure.
Right. But no, for real, like when you were just expressing yourself in the group and just even giving advice or wisdom to other people in the group, it was just like, dang, we all sitting in it. I listen to your podcast, like you, and look at you out here having a whole podcast, girl.
Yes.
And we don't get into that, but just definitely just had to revisit that, because I feel like we definitely met for a reason, and it's good to know that I really call you like my sister in Christ, because I feel like in the time that we did have together in that group, and even now, right, like that we are able to still grow in Christ and really go on this journey together. So I'm happy.
Oh, that was so sweet. Thank you. Words of affirmation is my love language. And so this is very, like, this sees my heart. Thank you so much. I know we're probably going to get into all the things, but the B group definitely was one of, like, a whole divine connection. And you and Comfort and some of the other girls who, like, I still stay in contact with from the B group is, like, definitely experience, like, relationships and connections, especially, like, rooted in Christ in a whole different way. And I'm so grateful, like, God did his big one with that. Like, that's like one of my highlights of last year, for real. And to still see the fruits that have been produced now, months later, is like, yeah, I'm gonna keep being obedient. And this is what it can look like. So thank you for that.
No, no problem. I definitely want to shout out the B group as well. Like everybody in there.
Absolutely.
If you're listening, thank you for listening. And I hope that, next semester is going to be even more popping. So, without further ado, let's get into this theme right here. So I gave us the theme, or the title, right, of the episode. It's called Revelations at the Crossroad. Now,
that's yummy. I like
right?
that.
It was given, at first when I heard it, I was like, meet me at the crossroad. No, it was like, wait, is it really giving Bone Thugs and Harmony? I don't know. I was meditating on it and I was like, all right, I'm interested to know, Alexis, like, what do you feel about the title? Like, what does it mean to you, especially right now in this particular time in your life?
That's a really good title, because I think a lot of the times we think of transition or crossroads as like a difficulty or a challenge, or like you have to make a choice and it's gonna be life changing, or you don't know where to go. But it's in those transitional moments, or when we have to really like settle ourselves and, get grounded and really think about like, what is happening at this crossroads, like how can this look? You have to get again grounded, and then in that you have revelations, or you do a lot of individual reflecting, you have a relationship with God, or you're spiritual, whatever, like reflecting with God and seeking him, and that provides you so much like wisdom and revelation, even in spaces that may seem uncomfortable or transitional, or you're at a crossroads. And I think I've definitely noticed that a lot more in this transitional post-grad gap year season. And I've had so much revelation that I knew I would not be able to get unless I was in the current season that I'm in. And there's some seasons that serve as that, every season is going to provide and serve you with something different. And that's, that's the point of transition in seasons. Like every season is going to bear different fruit. Right. And that's definitely been, there's things I've taken away from this season and this transition and this, I guess, kind of like crossroad, kind of like awkward time. I won't even say it's awkward anymore. I've very much embraced it now. And I now reflect on like, what was I thinking of wanting to like go straight through, because I wasn't going to take a gap year. Like I was going to go just keep trucking through school, and I don't know like what would have happened to me, or like my energy or my motivation or my spiritual life or anything, if I would have just like kept going. And so I'm grateful I have this year now, and I've been able to embrace it, because the first few months it was very uncomfortable, and I was like, girl, like this is a whole year, like what is going on? And now I'm in February and I'm like, oh my God, I feel like everything's gonna switch by tomorrow, because it's just going by so fast. And when you do embrace it and you do get the revelation of like, oh, like this is what I can do, and this is like how my life can look, and like I have all this space now to really shape things and make different choices and really pour into a different side of myself, because like I know myself very well in the academic space. Like I know what I look like. Obviously you go to school, you go to high school, you maybe go to college, and I went to college and I graduated college, and it's like everything stops. So you learn yourself in a very different way, and that gives you revelations even about yourself, because when you're out of a space that you're so familiar with and that you have literally been in all your life, what does that look like now? Like what do my routines look like? How do I navigate things? What do I endeavor, like what am I doing for all my days? Like what do my routines look like? So that's I think that's like what it's meant for me in this past year, and it's been a revelation, many, in like all types of different areas in my life. And I'm very grateful for it though, because like I said, I don't think it would not have been nearly as deep or eye-opening unless I took a step back and took this gap year.
Yeah, that is beautiful though. Like that is beautiful. I know sometimes it could feel, like you said, weird or just awkward, because it's new. I think it's at the time, and we have our influence, whether it's like family or other friends. We see them pushing through. We see them and they're on that trajectory, and I'm doing something different. I'm the odd one out.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, I don't really know if this is gonna work or not, but I'm gonna do it.
Exactly.
And that's the thing. It's like you took that risk, and it became something beautiful. Yeah, it's rocky in the beginning, but you just had to find your footing, right? It's I always envision us as a baby, right? Like we don't come out the womb walking, but we have to take those first few steps. And then now I feel like you out here running. You out here running, grabbing
That's
stuff.
so funny.
Like give me. Like you out here like I want it. Listen, I'm
I'm
gonna take
so
it.
weak because I definitely be feeling like I'm crawling sometimes. Like
No,
I don't, and it changes sometimes. Like sometimes you still gotta take a break. You can't run all the time. You have to
yeah.
build that
I mean,
endurance and stamina. So
yeah, I mean toddlers fall too,
mm-hmm,
and they
mm-hmm.
crawl
They topple.
and
I
yep,
said they
and that's
switch. They switch.
yeah, and that's okay. I think
Yeah.
in this time, you're learning a new layer of yourself, a new version of yourself, where, like you said, you wouldn't have known if you wouldn't
Mm-hmm.
have taken this chance. And I think that's what it's all about, because when you keep yourself in a box, you're limiting yourself. That's the only
Mm-hmm.
one version of yourself that you are known. And like you said, you know how you are in the academic space. You don't know how you are outside of that. Who is
Yeah.
Alexis out? Like what else does she do? And I mean,
Mm-hmm.
of course, from the outside looking in, we know. Well, we could
Right.
probably guess. Like, look, Alexis is so talented. Alexis can do X, Y, and Z. But you have to find that and discover that for yourself. So
Right.
I'm so happy for you. And this is like a moment of celebration.
Oh, I think it definitely is a moment of celebration because it's been a lot leading up to this behind the scenes, and like what it is. You saw me back in October when I was like really hesitant and like I didn't know where to start, what to do. And
Yeah.
even before that, like just the B group and the timing y'all came in my life was just very it really was like immaculate, and I really did need it, and it was something that it was definitely like time. I was like, I need to be in a B group, like I need to be in like greater community. And the fruits I produced was like, oh, like the timing was great. But before that, a lot of stuff that I did, even if it was like kind of related to like, speaking or like engagement, leadership, things like that, um, it was like again in the kind of academic space, like opportunities I got because I was in school, like, college networking connections, whatever. And I'm very grateful for that. And a lot of that did like prep me and equip me. And I feel like now everything that like I worked my tail off for, like in not grad school and undergrad and even like parts of high school and everything, even like walking it out actively like the last few years, I'm like, oh, like this is great, but it never, I was like, there's always more, like there's always more, like I know there's still gonna be more even after this, even like, as you said, like we can celebrate now. And I think this is like a really good time to kind of reflect, like we're the beginning of a year, and I'm like, dang, last year, like really like the last like 4 months of 2023, whole life switched. And I can take this space now to be like, whoa, like I took the leap, and it's so fulfilling, and it's like so great, and there's a
Yeah.
lot of new stuff, and it's still very intimidating, and the
Yeah.
balance of all of that. But like for all the thinking about like all the things that led up, because I definitely think of my life as like I kind of not put it in boxes, but I think like, oh, like undergrad, high school, like I definitely think about it in like segments.
Right.
And like again, college ended and I was very abrupt, so I'm like, dang, like what is this like post grad, gap year like segment of my life, like the season or whatever is gonna look like. And I feel like last year had about 3 different years in it. Like summer was completely different from fall when I like had met y'all, was different from the winter time, and it's different from now. And so
Yeah.
it's like not as like cookie cutter, but I'm still feel
Yeah.
like I'm in the space so where I can like celebrate it without it coming to like the end of like something big. Like I didn't graduate college and I can still celebrate. Like I didn't, do something. Well, I guess like I did do something like that was cool and like great, and it's not the end of it, and I can still celebrate in that moment. And I think that's something that's very important to recognize. And I'm always like, I always say, I'm like, I love a little treat. Like I love a little treat myself. I
Yeah.
love a little like celebration. So, like something
Yes.
small happens, I'm like, and guess what? I'm gonna get dinner tonight. Like,
Right.
I'm always trying to actively remember like the small wins or wins too. It doesn't have
Yeah.
to be something big. And I think I've definitely tried to pour into that more these past few months, because a lot of stuff that I've done is also like it can be challenging. It's like it is intimidating. Like I'm not in the, and this is what I told y'all, like why it intimidating me. I'm like, I'm not in the tech world. I don't know how to, all the editing and the softwares and the all the, you know, stuff behind it, like the logistics, I'm not familiar or privy to at all. Like
Okay,
my, yeah.
but wait, because hold on. Because did you see her content? Did you see her?
Please.
Y'all, I'm gonna need y'all to go to read the
To
room. Because, like, what? Okay.
run it up, please,
No,
y'all,
no.
please.
Hold up. Because we ain't gonna go past that. Like, you just didn't say that. Because you was like, I don't know the tech, but girl, you out here dropping YouTube videos, thumbnails look on point, profile
I'm
image look on
so
point,
weak.
edits. And mind you, you're not even using like a Riverside type software. Like, you're editing in like a real, like, I don't know if it's iMovie or whatever it is, but it's like a real live video editing software, sis. Like, and you talking about no tech. What did you do? What happened?
Okay, so that was the thing too, because y'all, not a lot of y'all, but really like you and Comfort encouraged me, because y'all were already in the podcast phase where y'all were like, you know, a lot of it, like you can only know so much, you really just have to throw yourself in there, and y'all gave me like very tangible steps to take, and I took those quickly, because I'm like, I just need anything, because I told y'all, I'm like, you know, I'm the type of person where I like to know before I get into something, so I can easily troubleshoot and like feel like I have a sense of control. And there's only so much like research or so much information you can ingest before you just put yourself in it and you figure it out for yourself. And I felt like I was definitely like at that plateau or point where it's like I just need to do it, and y'all very much like challenge me in that and will give me like timelines and be like, and by the end of this week I want to see you at least like try this and like, you know, mess with this or play around with X, Y, and Z. And I think that push is definitely what I needed to kind of, again, make it more tangible, make it be like, oh, this is something I can practically do. And but a lot of stuff too, I went on TikTok and YouTube and Instagram and like looked up like podcasts, like how to make like, you know, podcast content, or like how to edit, like what's the best softwares, and this all the like little, again, technical things that I just wasn't very familiar with, or like, you know, what is like the best system and what mics to use and all that type of stuff. And that, a lot of that stuff did help me. Like it did help me, and it gave me somewhere to go off of, and I could at least play around with it and see if I liked it for myself, or if I didn't, what I can switch it out with. And that's kind of how I got more involved in it. And then like also when you play around with stuff and you questions come up naturally, so like then you can always go back and like research. And I think I definitely, it was like a lot of back and forth and figuring stuff out for myself. It's how I kind of got in the flow of things. But like the thumbnails and the, you know, the reels and the TikToks, everything, you also have to understand, like, we are constantly ingesting that content, and you have to like be conscious to switch your mindset of like, instead of just like, oh, like I like that video, like how did they make that? Like how did they get it? How did they, you know, get it formatted that way? Like what did they do behind the scenes? Like, you know, like what are the details of it? And I very much was like I found myself kind of making that switch when I like knew the like couple years before, like I need to start getting into like this podcast stuff, and I would look at people's content, I'm like, how did they do that? Like what did y'all do? And I would see something, I would kind of like question it, but I never like delved into it. And it forced me to kind of delve into it when I started wanting to do it for myself, and I want the quality to be good. I wanted it to look a very particular way. And that's something I also told y'all was, I'm picky, I'm particular, I'm stubborn. I wanted to look like them people who got about 170,000 followers. Like I wanted to look the quality, even if it's only about 90 of us rocking right now with our follower list. I still want the quality to be there, because who knows, like social media, you don't know what's gonna blow up. You don't know what's gonna captivate people. And I want to make sure the quality and stuff, like, stay ready, so we gotta get ready. So I wanted to still have it be something that's like to my standard, even if it's not like the best it could be, or like not anything that, you know, I'm like, oh, well, I know it's not gonna be exactly there, because baby, I ain't got no, you know, vlog camera, and I don't have a team to edit for me while I go and do all this stuff. Like it's just me. It's just me. So it's like I knew I had to kind of like make it realistic in my mind. And Comfort told me that. She was like, Alexis, just know right now, like it's not going to be to your standard, and like that's okay. Like you can always work up, but it can still be good, and like it can still be okay. And I had to digest that, because I was like, it doesn't have to be perfect, and it can still look nice. So that's where that kind of came from. And my phone at the time was old, and I was looking up like settings to make the quality better, just like simple stuff like that, where you don't have to have it all together. And again, we're like very much like working with what we had and making it good enough and still making it okay to where like the word got across, and that's like what matters.
Yeah, and that's the thing
yeah.
too. Like all you have is all you need. You know,
Yeah.
one of the things that was actually what God was speaking to me about is that like all I have in my hands is like that's what I could use to put it forth and bring whatever it is I'm looking for, right?
Yeah.
Because I feel like a lot of the times we are looking for the next person or the next thing or the next tool or the next something. And it's just like, well, how are you working with what you already have now on your plate? What about that thing on the shelf over there? Did you take a look at it? Did you like there's like so many like books, right? Like at least for me personally, I have books, right? That I purchase, but I have no knowledge of what's in the books yet because I haven't opened it. There's so many things that I'm just like, there's so many things around my apartment that I maybe not have even touched. Maybe someone bought it for me. I don't even know how it works yet because like I haven't utilized
you haven't engaged with it.
And that's the thing is like I love the fact that you, even though in this space it felt weird to come into the podcast space, and it's like, no, but I'm gonna be a student. I'm gonna learn whatever it is I need to learn in order to be the best, in order to be my best, you know what I'm saying? Because yes, we all have a standard and we have a goal where we want to reach, but it's like, what are you doing to get there? What are the steps, the practical steps? Even if it's just like a baby step every day, what are you doing to get there? And I think sometimes we get lost in like the fast results and the quick results, and it's like, this is not easy. You're not gonna wake up one day, do your first podcast episode, do your second one, and be like, yeah, I'm gonna go viral. Like, I think, and I mean, and then that's the thing too. It's like, if your goal, right, is to go viral, I mean, there's certain things that, of course, you have to build up to that. But someone like me, I'm not looking to go viral. Like, if it happens, it happens.
Touch.
It's just like, the thing about it is, you have to find your lane, and you have to be mindful of like, all right, like, this is why I'm doing it. Like, it goes back to your why. So I love the fact that you actually, keep that standard as like I guess your North Star, so to speak. Because it helps, it helps you work towards something and learn more. So
it definitely keeps you grounded, and it allows you to find the lessons and the joy in the process. Because I think I hear people say this all the time. Usually it's like older generations, but I think there's definitely truth to it. But it's like we live in a microwave generation where it's like people want very quick results, or they see, I think also because there's so much is accessible to us and it's all around us. It's like, oh, well, like, yeah, like obviously that can happen. Like I want my results to look like that today. And it's like, that's not realistic, one. And two, that also takes out all the stuff that you're supposed to be developed like in the process. Like I can't imagine what it will look like if you post 1 or 2 videos and then like you go viral, or like now you have all these followers. Like what is, like that doesn't, I wouldn't even want that realistically. And like you said, you're not looking to go viral, and I very much like my North Star, like my motivation. I've been saying this about, I'm like, if it touches one person, 100 people, 1,000 people, I don't care. I wanted to be able to actually like touch somebody and be able to allow them to think critically about things and reflect on their own life or where they are, or, help them feel seen and, encouraged or whatever it may be. Like, I really wanted to just meet people and meet them and have them feel like they're not alone. And that's my goal. And however that happens, I'm grateful for, because at the end of the day, it's fulfilling to me, and I'm being obedient. I'm doing my part, and it's out of my hands after that. And the process is like very beautiful, and the tools that you have may not even come up in the ways that you think. And y'all came up in like very specific ways where it's like God didn't place a mic and a camera, a 4K Canon camera, nothing on my table. Like he brought me into a community with y'all, and within that community, I was able to get guidance and accountability and mentorship, and that's what I
Yeah.
needed
Yeah.
realistically, and like that's what's also gonna last. And so, I mean, all the other fruits that come with that too outside of the podcast. So,
Right.
like that's the tools I had. Like I had y'all, and I had then like the realistic stuff of like a phone and a camera,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
or a phone and computer. And so,
Right.
you know, your tools, like what you have may not look like what you think you need or what you even want, but that
Mm-hmm.
stewardship over what you do have shows that, okay, I can work with what I have. So when I do get what I, would make this more convenient, or what would make this a better quality, or what I do actually want in the long run, whatever it may be, you
Mm-hmm.
know that you can still work with whatever you have in front of you and store it over it well, and do it with the right heart posture, and do it with the right motivation. Because if you get
Yes.
everything you want, what is that producing you for real? Like if you get
Right.
everything right when you want it, or right the way you think it's supposed to be,
It'll never
what
work.
does that look like? Yeah, like what is that building in you, or like how
Yeah.
does that reflect your character? So
Right.
it's definitely a thing of like using what you have and storing over it well, and also being
Yes.
very aware of like the process, and being okay with the process. Like you have to be okay with it. Like you have to tolerate the process.
Yeah,
And that's
girl.
hard. Like that's hard sometimes, but it's not gonna go away.
No, like the process, yeah, it can get ugly. Like there's been many times where, of course, we want to give up, but what's the fun in that? Like, we look back and be like, okay, I got through that. Like that means a lot more to me. So like, I could never. I mean, I think the hardest part is like not the hardest part. Let me not say that. I think I'm more grateful, right, to be chosen to do this. Because whereas
That's
like
good.
one time I was never like I would never wanted to be in this space, but I knew this was more important for like other people, to share their stories, to be able to have a space to like shine their light. Like that's how it was downloaded to me, was like you need somewhere to have a safe space, especially like essentially.
Yeah.
Because I don't feel like a lot of people are safe. So I just want to ask real quick too, like for your podcast, it feels like it is a safe space. Like when I watch you or listen to you, I mean, like you were just like here, like here's what it is, like here's my heart, like this is just and I love it though. It's just like raw Alexis. And I want to ask, like, for you, like, how do you create, because like I know you don't have guests yet, but if you do have guests, like how do you, even for yourself, create that like space of safety and care for like that space of vulnerability?
That honestly, like that's one of my like biggest goals, or that's one of like my principles really. And I remember like when I first started, and I posted like, not the guidelines, but I posted like, the goals, and like what, why I'm here, and like what I want to do, and what I want this to be. My top thing is I want this to be like a safe and a brave space, and I wanted this to be something where people can be vulnerable, and the only way you can do that is also reflecting it in yourself. And I think that's something that like my leadership experiences that I had definitely came into play, where I learned as a leader, I'm like, whatever you want, or like whoever you're leading, or like whatever you're doing, you have to reflect that in yourself. And
Yes.
you have to really walk the walk. And so I definitely make sure to hold that space for myself, like to be vulnerable and be open. And it takes a lot of like reflection and self-work and all the things. And I'm like I journal, I'm spiritual, I'm meditative, like I do all the things. And I keep people like that also around me. I think that's very important to like your tribe, and the people who you keep around you, and the people who also make you feel safe, because you notice, like, you know what it is. Like when someone makes you feel space, you know that, like, or someone makes you feel safe, you know what that feeling is. Like, like you just, it's a very distinct, and to feel loved and to feel safe. And I have so many spaces where that shows up in my life. And I'm like, how do I cultivate this for people? And I think the biggest way to do that is being real, like being authentic, because you can't take away anything from, if like you're lying, you're putting on the front. like that's not resonating on people, and people can clock that. Like that's easy to tell. Like
Yeah.
you know when someone's not being real, or they're put on the facade, or they're just not acting like their authentic selves, or they're trying to, seem like things are okay. And things are very much okay if they're not okay. Like not everything has to be perfect. And
Right.
especially again, like in this transition, in this time frame in young adulthood period, things aren't perfect. Like
Yeah.
things just aren't. Like things are messy, they're weird, they're uncomfortable, they're like you don't like it at times, and
Yeah.
that's completely okay. And I know I have those spaces to where I can share that with people. I have community, I have family, like I have so many people in my corner that I can rely
Mm.
on and put my weight on.
Yeah.
And not everyone has that. Like I'm very aware of that. Like that's a privilege to me. Like that's such a blessing to me to have community for real, and have it be
Yes.
shown in my family and my friends and my chosen family. And I wanted to be able to have that space for people to where they felt like, they're seen and they're not going through things alone, that they're not navigating things alone, or even like if they're
Right.
navigating something, like thinking about it from different perspectives or angles. Cause I always have like really like great conversations with people, and I want to be able to share that. And so that's like one way I facilitate is like being open and vulnerable and like accountable with myself, and
Yeah.
mirroring what I want like my audience to feel. And then when I bring on guests, I have an episode recorded with my first guest, and it's gonna be coming out.
Hey.
But
Okay.
yes, and I'm very excited to share it. But I definitely make sure it was interesting because it's my best friend as well. So like we know each other very well, and I feel like this in any space, but it's like there definitely has to be alignment to like professionalism, or like what the goal is, like what we're doing, and then like we can cackle and giggle and kiki later. It's like, and we're
Right.
like when we work together, like we work really really well together. Like I really truly believe she's like my purpose partner, and so
No.
we knew what it was. Yes, and the
Yeah.
episode, we'll get into all this in the episode when it comes out. But but I was like, you're my first guest, so this is also going to be like something I'm navigating on, like, how I want this to be structured, or like how to prep for this and stuff. But I told her like the idea I have for the topic, like what I want to, talk about with her. And I had outlined notes, and I was like, anything you want to contribute, like you can take this, move it around, shift to anything you want to talk about, whatever, and
Yeah.
we'll go over it together. And inviting people into that space to where they feel like they're not being talked to or interviewed, or they're being used or whatever, but like this is also your space. Like this is a shared space, and
Yeah.
if there's anything that you want to talk about as we share this platform, please do like let me know, and we will like work that in somehow. And I think that's important for people to feel like they have autonomy in that too, and they're not just again like being
Yes.
used or being put in front of the camera, because this isn't like everyone's lane, as you said. Like this isn't for
Right.
everybody. Everyone that may not be comfortable with it. But we know there's like so much stuff to share with people, and so it's like
Yeah.
also making it intentional to make people feel safe and seen, and like they have a say when they're being interviewed, or they're on, they're a guest. So
Yeah.
I definitely want, like, and I plan to do that like with any of my guests, like anything you want to share, anything you want to be open about or whatever, let's, like, we can integrate that into there. We can go over, like, if anything I'm doing is too much, if it's too pressing, you don't want to touch that,
Yeah.
whatever, like you let me know.
Yeah.
And something I did, and I know I'm gonna continue to do, but like praying before, and just like setting setting the energy, setting everything, making it right, like
I,
making sure that whatever is supposed to be produced is meant to. And I do this before every episode with myself, but like I pray for the audience, like whoever it touches. And you don't
right.
know like where people are when the episode lands, like you don't know
Right.
where it's meeting people, like you don't know what people are going through when they
Mm.
watch it. And so like I always be sure to pray. I'm like, God, like whatever you need, make sure it's met. I can say what I need to say, but you know
Mm-hmm.
specifically what they're going through, and you know exactly what they need, Lord. So like meet them in that, and like use me as a vessel, as a reflection of whatever they need, and like do my part,
Right.
right?
Right. Right.
Because
Right.
you really don't know. And every episode, it's been a confirmation, or like someone has reached out to me, or it's like whatever topic I spoke about has come up in like a very specific way, and I'm like, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing.
Mm.
So
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
very like reassuring to me, and it also encourages me to continue like holding space for people, and holding like very open and vulnerable conversations, because it's relevant.
Yeah.
And
It's
I
relatable.
yeah, and that's like that's I mean that's what I want it to be. I want it to be relevant, I want it to be relatable, I want it to be real.
Mhm.
And
Yeah, yeah.
I hope that's like what I get to do. And it's funny because like I'll say stuff sometimes like about my family or my friends or whatever, like they'll watch it and they'll come back and they'll joke about it and stuff, and I'm like it's just it's very like funny on like the back end of it, like with people who I like personally know and like who I see all the
Yeah.
time, and they'll make jokes and stuff, but
Yeah.
they know what it is, like they know it's like real. So
Yeah, I think
yeah.
that's what the two words that I was hearing too while you were speaking was, of course, consideration and just collaboration.
Mm-hmm.
I could tell off the bat that you're just very considerate, of other people, and I mean it shows. And that's one of my pet peeves, like when people are not considerate. And
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I seem to run into that a lot because I'm just like, what is this? Is this like
Yikes.
this does not exist anymore in
Mm.
characteristics? Because there's not a lot of people that are. So when I come across someone who does actually display that and take that into consideration, I'm like, yes, there's still people out here like that. So it shows, it's like I want you to feel a part of, I don't know if you call them read the room family, but listen, I want you to feel like we're in this community
Mm-hmm.
together. I want you to feel
Absolutely.
loved on. I want you to feel cared about, and that
Absolutely.
speaks volumes. And it seems as though you're not afraid, and that's what it takes, right? It takes a team.
Mm-hmm.
It takes all of us to just make the difference, to
Absolutely.
even just throw ideas out on the board and be like, all right, like how many of you all are feeling the same way? Because it's not just me, it's not just her or
Literally.
him, it's like all of us. And
Yeah.
that's why we have these platforms to just showcase and shine a light on whatever it is, because a lot of times in these spaces of vulnerability, we like we have no choice. I don't think you can have a platform, right,
Mm.
and say, oh, authenticity, and then just come on here like, no, this is real life. This is something that other people need to know, that they're not alone, and that
Mm-hmm.
there's goodness, there's something better on the other side of what they may be feeling right now, because right now
Mm-hmm.
feels shitty, like,
Yeah.
for a lack of better
Yeah.
word.
No,
Right
yeah, it
now,
does. Like,
right now feels like very uncertain. Right now, I
mm.
don't even know. So there's some people out there, and I don't know why I felt the need to say that, but like I don't even know where to put my faith in right now. Like,
Mm-hmm.
that's real, you
Yeah.
know. And sometimes, even just today, I was praying, and I'm praying for people that actually feel like they don't have, or they can't turn to God right now because of just
Mm-hmm.
the trauma that they've experienced, or maybe it was I don't know, just anything really that could have turned that around for them. Because I was thinking about today just like the goodness of God, and like how, and this is like going left a little bit, but
We're gonna make it all
listen,
come back.
it will come back. But the goodness of God really is just like experiencing him and his love. And that's
Mm-hmm.
how I feel like us as yes, daughters of our father, but like in representing the kingdom, but like also just people in general, like we want
Yeah.
to be that reflection of that love, compassion, consideration. And that's just the reflection, because God's love, like I know you've experienced it, but
Oh
like there is
yeah.
nothing like that I've
Nothing
ever
like
ever
it.
experienced with anybody on, and I don't think I will. Maybe
Yeah.
like, but not even. But like, I don't
Yeah.
know. But like that is the type of like compassion and consideration, and just overall like grace that I would just expect in these types of spaces. Like, because
Mm-hmm.
at the end of the day, I want to reflect how Jesus would act, how God would act to somebody else. And
Oh yeah.
there's no reason for people to come into space and feel like I can't speak, or I can't
Yeah.
express myself in a way that I want to. Um but
Oh, and even in that, there's beauty in that. Like, there's just such beauty in community, and like you said, like God's love and goodness, and even for people who aren't believers, for people who are uncertain, they're shaky, they don't, like you said, they don't know where to put their faith, or there's not hope. This is so, the Holy Spirit's so good, because I was thinking about this last night. Like I literally, not even last night, it was yesterday morning. I had woke up and I was just praying. I was like, thank you, Lord, that I have a relationship with you, and like I know, like I have someone to rely on, like put my weight on, I could trust in. Like I know you, like I know your goodness, and I know where I can put my faith. Because there's people who don't, and like they're figuring it out. Like there's people who are of faith and they're still shaky, they're still like fearful, or they have anxiety, like they still struggle with like really real things. And like you said, like at the end of the day, we're called to be reflections and show God's love. And like whatever love we experience, it's like God's is that much better. Like it's just that much richer. And and all the things that come with that. And I know I'm a believer, and even if you're not, like no matter where you are in your faith or your spirituality, what your beliefs are, at the end of the day, I'm still gonna be of love, and I'm still gonna be of grace, and I'm still gonna reflect that, because that's my job as you said, like as a daughter and as a follower of Christ, but as a person too. And as like people, they just want to feel loved and seen. Like that's what we want. And things strip that away from us. Trauma happens, the world happens, and we lose hope, or we get unsettled, or things make it seem like like what the hell is going on, like really, like what's happening right now. And it tears away at us. But at the end of the day, it's like we just really want to feel loved and seen, and have people to share that with, because we need like community, we need people. You have to have people around you who are also able to reciprocate and like pour that into you. And I just, again, I'm so grateful that I have that community, and like I've been able to see like godly community, and been able to like have people who also align themselves with love. Because a lot of people who claim Christ, and they don't be moving like Christ, and that's where people get effed up in their walk, and that's where people have all this church trauma from, or they have church hurt and all this stuff, or people who don't accurately reflect the values of God, which is love. And that's like where like all the other nasty stuff comes from. And that, and like, and I feel for them, like I get it, like it and it's horrible. And no matter like what your belief is, why I'm like, this podcast, like I like faith is like just one of my lenses, like spirituality, that's one of my lenses, it's one of my identities. Like that's where it's like gonna involve itself in every facet of my life. We don't have to align with that, but there's still principles that work. You could take away, like there's still things, no matter what you believe, that it applies. And I have had so many interactions with people who don't believe, or they're figuring out their faith or whatever, and I'm still able to touch them, or still able to have a really good conversation, or they still get something that they need. And for me, I'm like, that's God. And for them, it may not be that moment for them where it's like, that's God, but who knows the seed that you plant with people, or like what can happen down the line. And that's why just every day you have to make a conscious effort to do your part and love on people and be gracious and reflect that. Because no matter, like, not everyone's gonna believe like you, and not everyone's gonna align like you, and that's okay. And we're still called to touch those people. So like that's still our duty.
It doesn't make us it doesn't make us enemies, like we can definitely have different opinions or different viewpoints, and that's okay. I wanted to ask you, just during this I guess like during just times of difficulty, right? Like it doesn't have to be difficult this moment, but like during these times of difficulty, like what keeps you inspired?
Oh man. I honestly, I think about a lot of things. I think about my friends and family who are like doing really cool things, or other people who I just have such respect for, and that are like constantly trying and like taking on new things, from like all ages, like from my little cousins to like my aunties and uncles and stuff who are like in their 40s and 50s, and so like taking on new endeavors and constantly like growing and learning, and that honestly always inspires me. And it encourages me to keep trying or keep going, because I have like a very big family. I have a like very like strong family. Like we're like very like strong headed, and there's a lot of women, and they're like really, really great and awesome. And
Yeah.
constantly having that around you and having that kind of like invigorate you and stimulate you, it is a reminder that, no matter where you think life is taking you and no matter how hard things get, one, you're always going to come out on the other side. Like, it's passing, like we're actively passing through it.
Yeah.
And two, that, where you are right now is like not your life. Like, where I am right now in my 20s is not how my life is going to be when I'm in my 30s, no, my 40s. Like, and
Right.
that can be really encouraging if you're going through a really tough time. And that can be
Yes.
kind of intimidating if like life is great right now and you're like, dang, what is it going to be 10 years from now? So,
Right.
depending on where you are, like that may land differently, but that keeps me very inspired. It's just the people around me
Yeah.
for real. And like meeting new people and like even recently what's been happening to me a lot, which is very encouraging to me though, and it makes me be like, it makes me see like the fabric of God in every day. Like it literally like makes me see him in the fabric of my days. And strangers, I've been having really good conversations with strangers at the park, yesterday at Blaze getting pizza. Had a whole like 15-20 minute conversation with the dude who's with the long spatula twirling my pizza in the oven. Like just moments like that. Meeting people like randomly or like people coming up and just like sparking conversation. And again, like I'm from New Orleans, I'm in the South, so it's we do that. And in New Orleans,
Hospitality.
I'm like, so
Yeah.
I'm like, I have those moments, and that's very like encouraging or inspiring to me. And people just being like, like I'm glad like we had this moment, like just connecting with people. You may never see them again. You may, where they're gonna, what path they're walking or what they're going through or whatever. But like having those small moments of connection, it's happened like so much, like the last couple months. And I'm like very open to it because I'm friendly, I think, and I enjoy connecting with people, even if it's like complete strangers, if it's not on like no weird stuff. But I think that's like very encouraging to me, inspiring in a different way, where I can actively see like God still using me and working in me, like to reflect his love or just kindness or openness to other people, even if it's not talking about God. Like it doesn't even have to be about anything spiritual or whatever, just having good energy and being a good person. Look at that. It's really that simple.
I think that's what we're like meant to do. Like God wasn't like us, like I'm gonna create all these humans and we're gonna isolate. Like no, that's why
we're meant to be in community,
right? And that's why I love the fact that you're open to it, at least, because like you're insinuating like that's where you learn, right? That's where you're learning all the things. That's where you get your realizations, your revelations. You're like, oh, okay. And then like even if you do have a conversation and then you're thinking about it later on, you're like, oh, I see why I had, okay, God. And then sometimes I believe that God does send people for us, like to have a conversation, to make things, because sometimes that's where your answer comes from. You know what I'm saying? Like you could have been praying for something and sign or something, and someone comes up to you randomly like, yeah, so about that car, like, what you mean? Like it's just certain things. And I love how God moves, and it's just a reminder for us all to just like, even no matter where we live, right, like just be that person. It doesn't, I don't know why, but that's like one thing that like honestly has stuck with me for like the past 10 years. I was actually just thinking about this earlier too. When I went to go study abroad in Australia, and I remember being in Australia, they were so nice. Like, mind you, I loved it over there. And I knew when I touched down back in America I flew into JFK, and I remember seeing an employee and I was like, good. Like, they looked at me with like 10 heads and did not even say anything. Like, I was just like, okay, never
back
mind.
On that plane to Australia.
Yeah, like it was just like, why are we like this? Why are we like this? We like, I understand some people are just like, and I think it just goes back to being just like being treated a certain way, right? So I always have to have that hard, tough exterior, and it's just like, no, like you can pivot, you could be something
You can
different,
actively
not
choose to make those
yes.
conscious decisions to be different than what you were conditioned for. Because I think a lot of it is kind of like a conditioning, and especially depending on like where you grew up, what family you grew up in, all the things that go into that. You grew up and you
Yes.
think that's like one normal, and then two, it's okay to adapt that even as a full adult and being like, well, I'm just me, or I'm just
Right.
standoffish. Like that's just how I've always been. Have you always been
Yeah.
that way, or is that what you were taught? Because of the
Okay.
where you grew up, the family you grew up in, whatever it may be, and you just
Mm.
now just associate that with your personality, but really like that's not what you want to do. One and two, it's blocking a
Yeah.
lot of blessings, and three, it's just not cute. So like, like, like what? Like let's
Yeah.
like really take a moment and think about and reflect on like how has that come to be for real? Like, are you really just that way, or do you just assume you're that way?
Right. It's
Because that's how you've always been, because that's what you've always been around.
yeah, exactly. And I think that's like another like crossroad, right? In itself is like, all right, like once people come to that realization of themselves, that's the thing, is like, will I continue to choose and be this way, or will I
Mm-hmm.
make that change?
Yeah.
Um Um, so I asked you about just like what inspires you. You did mention, your circle, your family.
Mm-hmm.
Have they, I'm assuming, right? Like they have been in those seasons of when you were like having imposter syndrome, doubt, and just like wanting to just be like, nope, I don't want anybody to see me. What is
Absolutely.
that one piece of advice that stuck with you during those times? Um, that someone said to you that
Oh.
really was like, yeah, I'm going to keep that to the heart and keep pushing.
Yeah. I talked about this in my first episode actually, because it really was such a big motivation for me. But my TD, and if you don't know what a TD is, that's my auntie. So we call them down here in New Orleans, no Louisiana. I don't know if it's New Orleans thing, Louisiana thing, a southern thing. My TD though, she
Hey, Petey.
yeah, love her. She's just such a pillar in my life. And we now that I'm home, we do try to like go out and like do something every month. And so it was August and we were going out, we were eating somewhere, and we were talking about like different things. And she like owns a business, like my family has a business and has had a business. They've been in business for like over 40 years, which is like really amazing and great, especially as a Black woman owned business in the South. And so
Yeah, wow.
so my TD was talking about like new stuff that they're like trying to do with the salon, and different things and everything. And I felt compelled to tell her and share my like vision for her about like the podcast. And I had never like shared it with any family besides my mama, and like my friend, like my best friend knew about it. Like, or like a couple of my friends, yeah, like my best friend and like one of my other friends knew that's something like I wanted to get into. But like again, nothing had come of it at the time. Like it was a bunch of ideas, a bunch of outlines, a bunch of words.
Yeah.
And I had shared it with her. And that was my first time, and I was like very scared. And I told her like, no, all my qualms, all the reasons why I was like, I don't know where to start, I don't know what to do, I don't know how it's gonna look, I want to be X, Y, and Z, all the things, right? And
Yeah.
she literally just said, Lex, start somewhere. And very, very simple. And I was like, okay, yeah, girl. Clear, like I'm trying, but like was I really trying? And so like I
Yeah.
was doing like all the stuff that's like good, like it's good to do, but I had exhausted it. Like it's 2 years later, like girl, what are we doing now? And so
Mm,
so she was like, just start somewhere, even if it's just you like recording yourself and like sending it to like your closest friends until you're comfortable enough with like sharing it like maybe on your social media, and then like making it
mm,
into like a thing. Like just start somewhere even if it's small. And this is a woman like I have very great respect for, because she's constantly growing herself, constantly striving for more, even where she has like a very successful career and she's done a lot of things. Like she really could chill out and do what she wants, and she's constantly
mm.
striving to do more. Like right now she's getting her trichology license. Does she need to do that?
Wow.
No, but she's like obeying God and like going deeper in her calling. And
Yeah.
so I have just such great honor and respect for her, because she always sets the example for me and my cousins and our family, of, you know, what it looks like to constantly be pushing forward and moving like past adversity and past what may look like okay or successful to other people.
Yeah.
And knowing personally like this is like so much, like there's so much more I'm supposed to be doing, because like what can look successful or good to other people, you may feel like you and God can know that there's more, like you're supposed to be moving in a different way, but everybody else can be saying it's okay. You can be comfortable, you can get comfortable or caught up in that, but that's still you being disobedient if you're not listening to God or what you know you're supposed to be doing. So
Right.
she always like
Right.
gives us advice and stuff, but she's one of those people who gives us advice and tells us things, and she honestly and accurately reflects it in her own life. And people say a lot of things and they don't always walk it out, and she does. So I'm gonna always listen to that woman. And so,
Mm.
so she told me that, and I was like, okay. I said,
Yeah.
okay, I can start small. Like I can do something small. And she kind of encouraged me in that. And she was like, you know, you're like, I don't even know if I had made the decision to take a gap year yet. Like it was still up in the air, of like what I was gonna do first, like grad school or whatever. And so she, like we just talked about it and we're throwing around ideas and different things, and that conversation really motivated me to like really kind of like buckle down and get to it. And my friends like had always encouraged me, and like in school and stuff, the friends who knew and they would send me
Yeah.
stuff, they would like send me resources, and they were like, Alexis, like, you know, we will help you like the best ways that we know how, and like, you know, assist you in this, and you know, like support you, like actually like, you know, give
Yeah.
you like again very like practical things to support me, and I'm very grateful for that. But there's so much other stuff, I say this like too in my episodes, but like there's so much other stuff going on in undergrad where I really truly didn't have the time to like pour into a podcast the way it needs to
Yeah.
be poured into. So
Right.
the time that it happened was honestly like perfect, like launching it when I did, waiting, or not even like intentionally waiting, but like it happening in my gap year, like all the things, it happened exactly when it was supposed to. Because a couple
Yeah.
years ago, the ideas and topics and stuff I had around like what I want my podcast to be is completely different than like what it is now. And what it is now, I feel like is so much more necessary and relevant for people's heart and mind. And so I'm
Yeah.
grateful that it ended up happening that way. But even when it was in the beginning, baby fetal stages, my friends still actively saw me when I was like, I don't know, or like, there's so many other platforms and people doing X, Y, and Z. And they'll always be like, okay, but it's not you. And it's not. It's like, it's not like
Right.
no one's gonna speak how you do. No one's gonna be able to touch the same audiences, know the same people, you
Right.
know, like have the same life, the same walk. And that's something that
No.
definitely always encourages me. And I think encourages moments of feeling uncertain or like having imposter syndrome, or being like what am I doing for real?
Yeah.
Like what the hell is happening? Like honestly,
Yeah.
truthfully. So
I
I always think about that, of like you said earlier, but like staying in your lane and running your course and staying focused on like what you're supposed to, and you will always be provided and covered in that. And what you have is all you need, and whatever you don't have, God will give you the grace for. And
right.
you will
Period.
still like, and you will learn it. And
Yeah.
you're not going to learn it if you're not in it. Like there's only
Right.
so much you can know until you're in it, and that you at least try. So
Yes.
that
Yes.
helps a lot of the time with like things of like uncertainty or imposter syndrome, because the podcast field is an oversaturated field. It's easy for people to pick up a mic and yap and not be talking about nothing. And so it's like cool
Yeah.
that they can do that, but like what are we contributing for real? Like I want whatever I'm contributing to have substance and again like
Yeah.
authenticity. And I realize that like there's things that I can say that's only from me, or like I can say it in this particular way where it may hit different than someone else who may say the same exact thing. And standing in that like with confidence and power, and like
Yes.
acknowledging that, and not being like arrogant or cocky. And I said this I think in my last episode, but it's like, you know, being humble is like taking up the exact amount of space that you're meant to, like nothing more, nothing less. So you don't have to like downplay yourself or be like, oh my God, like nah, I'm not that great. And you don't have to be
Yeah.
like, well, I'm the best in the room. Like literally
Right.
acknowledging where you are, like, yes, like I have skills, like I have stuff to contribute, and I have a word to say, and I'm, you know, these are like my spiritual gifts. Like this is like what I'm called to do. And like walking in that with confidence, and have that confidence rooted in God and like not yourself. Because I can't do
Yes.
any of this without God and like my community and like all the other people who like help me for real, like friends who like realistically help me, like family who like realistically like practically help me, who support me, who give me tools and resources, who send me stuff, who buy me stuff, like whatever it may be. So it's like not just me, and like I never ever wanted to be portrayed where it's like, oh, I like, you know how people be like, I got out the mud by myself, it's all me, like I can't trust nobody.
Girl, no. Yeah, no,
that's
girl.
not like, one, it's not realistic, and two, you should have to struggle, bust your way to success. Like that's literally not how it's supposed to be anyways.
I like to
like
say
it's a lie.
I like to say I'm God made, because absolutely not. I'm not self-made. Never will be.
No.
God made me, and he's still molding.
Yeah,
but
I cannot do this, and I don't want to do this because I don't want to use my strength. So
absolutely not. You are definitely one of one. Like we all are, you know what I'm saying? Because there's no other Alexis Reed out here. There's no other Ashley Conyers out here. Like, you know, we bring something to the table that, you know, like no other has or will, you know, and that's the beauty of it all. It's like, yeah, things are similar, but it's about really finding the people that resonate with us, right? Like we may have similar audiences, but not everyone's going to be exactly the same, because you have certain quirks, I have certain quirks, and they just like, oh, I like that quirk a little bit better. Like,
so it resonates to people differently. Like that's okay. Like everybody has their tribe. Like that's why I'm like, you can't like rip onto people, because like people are gonna go where they're comfortable, like where they identify, or like where they feel like, I like that, and that's like cool. Like as long as you're still getting what you need to get, like that's what matters. So like, you know, you don't have to be married to one thing, and that's like that's okay. Like we don't have to be possessive about everything.
Yeah, no, I don't know. There's too much in the world to be like.
There's just so much to experience.
So much.
Like, yes, and we can adapt to both mentalities. Like,
okay.
That is okay.
Yes. I really enjoyed this conversation. I think the people see why that you need a podcast, because of listen, I was sitting here listening, like this was just you talking, you just the episode. I was like, yep, right, like
right.
Listen, I love hearing you just, you know, speak, because you speak with such a authority. I feel like you speak with such conviction and just confidence when I hear you speak, and honestly you inspire me, because I really in all fairness, and I am not like, I don't see myself as that speaker yet, you know what I'm saying? Like this
really
I don't, and this is the thing, is like I still get nervous behind the mic. I may not seem like it, but sometimes I'm like overthinking, or like, oh man, I shouldn't have said that, or like it's normal, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I was about to say, it's definitely, it just kind of comes with the job.
Yeah,
like, you know, I don't think it's ever gonna be anything that's like you don't feel a little bit of like intimidation, or like a little bit like antsy, no matter how comfortable, like how much you practice, because every time is something different. Like you can never fully prepare. I think that's not like, this is one of those things like you can never fully prepare for it. And I think that's one thing that like is what makes it so intimidating, or like it can be a little bit unsettling, because there's just only so much you can do, and then the rest is like you gotta kind of wing it and like just go for it.
That's what your titty said. So we'll be in here now.
Yeah.
So I'm so excited to see where you're headed off to next. But before we wrap up, I'm gonna go into our 2 segments for tonight, which the first one is called Empowerment EP. So Empowerment EP is where you have the space to share 3 songs with me. 3 songs that 3 songs that are a source of strength and inspiration to you currently on your journey. Now, if you can't come up with 3, no pressure, but 3 songs, what are they?
Okay. One, because I've been this is stressful. So one that I've been like listening to the last like week, and I'm like, oh my god, like let me get back into this bag, is Video by India Ari, which is like,
I
Like,
love her though.
yeah, okay, exactly. Like that just makes me feel like
Mm-hmm.
really good and like
Yes.
the queen that I am and encourage, especially during Black History Month. Like, what better way
Yes. Oh,
to
I miss her.
empower? I know, right? Oh my gosh. Oh my God. I don't know what I'm gonna do.
Yo, I be having people stressed over
I
Trick's
know,
song.
like this. Oh my gosh. Of empowerment.
Oh,
Like, this is funny because I was listening to like my good energy playlist before this.
got
It's like my
you.
like it gets me together. So I'm like going through this right
Yeah.
now, but it's like very outdated. Like this is not the playlist I've been.
Well, listen, we love the oldies. Ain't nothing wrong with it.
Oh man. I literally can I give you artists? Like I.
It's okay.
I am
We can go with
like
artists.
okay, artists. Oh my God, I know like every. Not maybe not every, but like I know a lot of people love her, but Madison Ryan Ward.
Oh,
Oh
yes.
my God. I need her to be like I need her to be on another tour or something.
Comfort put me onto her. I had no idea
Yes.
who she was, but I
Oh.
was like,
Oh.
yeah, she's
Oh.
good.
She's
She's so good.
legit.
Yeah.
She's very, very good. Yeah.
So you mean to tell me you don't have like a favorite song from her? There's so many, probably.
It's so because I love her whole New Thing album. I just like I listened. That was my most played album last year, and I found out about it in August. So literally, I listened to that thing on repeat. Okay, let me see if I have a favorite. I can probably narrow it down to a favorite song.
So
let's see.
So people who don't know, like why I'm asking her kind of to be very specific is because I put these songs on the playlist.
You can do Chosen by her. That's a really good empowerment song. Chosen. It's like the first song on her album. And it's a really good empowerment song actually. But yeah, like it gets you like it makes you feel good.
I don't think I heard that one. Maybe not. Well, I have to run it back. I don't know.
I'll say that. Well, then that's your homework.
Yeah, that's my homework for real.
Yeah. Okay. I think I can do this. Another song. I don't know about empowerment, but like it gets me feeling really like it. Well, it gets me feeling really good. Elevation Rhythm has just like really, really poppin' music.
Oh, Elevation Rhythm?
Yes, like they make like they.
What?
Yeah, it's like the beats and like the culmination of the music can be making me feel really good in my spirit.
Is that's a group?
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, so like they're like young too. Like they all sound like really, really young and they make like really like fun beats and stuff and they like they record it like in person. Like you know like Maverick and stuff, they do like the live recordings and then like that's their albums. They do it, it's like something like that.
Yeah, I haven't heard of them.
Oh yeah, they're fun. They're good.
And see, this is why I like asking y'all because y'all be putting me on. I'm like, who? What?
Yeah, I've been listening to them because like for the fast too, I usually for fast now like I give up like secular music too. And it's like it like kind of forcing me to like expand like my typical like praise and worship or like my like Christian music or whatever.
Yeah.
And this past one, my best friend Courtney put me onto a lot of music when she came in town and she got aux most of the time because she just has immaculate music taste. And a lot of her playlists, I was like add because it was just so good. So she puts me on a lot. But
that's dope. Yeah, I can listen to that one.
Yeah.
Well, those are your three. You got another one just for a bonus.
I'm trying to find like a specific song from them. What I've been listening to from them is Back Then. Like when I'm in the gym, like I listen to that because it's just hype and it makes you feel like it's like I don't know, like it makes you feel good because it's just like it's hype. So, yeah, I'll say Back Then by Elevation Rhythm, and that'll be my 3.
Okay, yeah, those I gotta check.
You gotta tap in.
I gotta tap in for real.
Yeah,
but you know, those are some good choices. I believe, especially India Ari, because like, I don't know, I know like that they was like saying Neo Soul was like dead or whatever, but like I don't know, she need to come back.
She
so.
does for the one time, please.
But yeah, these will be added onto the Empowerment EP playlist that is forever growing. It's on Apple Music and Spotify. All the links for the playlist will be in the show notes for you guys to check out if you haven't already. And for those of you that already shared, shared and saved, it will be added. So go check it out. Our next segment is Shine a Light on Them, Shorty. So, Shine a Light on Them is a segment where you give gratitude to a person or a couple people that you want to show gratitude for.
Oh my gosh. This is also hard.
There you go. Here you go. You better feel like homework.
Man. I was trying to think of somebody different because I talked with people who I'm grateful for already. So I would try to spread it out because there are so many people I'm grateful for.
Got you.
Oh man. I talked about my TD a lot. I talked about my best friend a lot because again, we have a whole episode coming out, so y'all don't know how I feel about her. I think a person, since we're in this specific space of podcasting and navigating this, comfort for me is a person who is just so inspiring to me and is a very strong leader. And again, both of y'all had such a huge role in me even starting the podcast and the quick turnaround with it. That was a meeting we had in October, and by November I was getting ready to launch. So y'all helped me a lot in those few weeks, really. And even now, we all still talk. So I would say comfort because I don't know if you've caught up with comfort or not. I'm not gonna have her, not her tea, but her testimony and stuff out there, because it's just you gotta really hear it for yourself. But comfort's been making some really big faith moves, and it's been paying off so much. And talking to her and catching up with her has been so amazing because I'm I think it's really encouraging to see the hand of God on people's lives for real. People who you may not even see physically, or who who's your bestie and y'all talk every second of the day or nothing, but just coming into community with people and really being you walking it out, and I respect you for that. So I would say comfort, because she definitely has been such a huge influence in the process of things behind the scenes, and I really appreciate people who are with me behind the scenes, because a lot of people who don't know me personally, they see the stuff that I do and they're like, wow. And I'm girl, do not be fooled. I was definitely struggling, and I was definitely it was me and about 15 people lifting me up this hill. So please do not be fooled. And I have such a appreciation for people who are with me behind the scenes and important to me spiritually, mentally, emotionally, who literally are standing with me all the things that I go through. And comfort has been a really inspiring person, a really great leader, and a person who also is very speaks such conviction and strength and confidence, and also is real enough to let you know is I don't I'm still figuring things out, or I don't know, but I'm believing, and I'm doing X, Y, and Z, and I am scared, and but and then she'll be but glory to God, and I'm you know what, sister. And so,
that is her.
That is her.
Yeah, she's amazing. I thank God for her all the time too. She is definitely one of a kind, for sure. I don't think I met another comfort ever in my life. I'm okay.
I don't plan to.
No, and I'm definitely okay with with her just being right here. But yeah, she's definitely dope. And for those of you who aren't familiar with Comfort, she did come on the podcast not too long ago. So you guys check out her episode. I believe it was episode 14. Is with Comfort. So yeah, she's
she
really
has her
dope.
own podcast. Comfy Talks. She does.
Yeah,
go check her out, y'all.
Oh yeah, she's back. She is back.
Yes.
Yes, she is back. Yeah. So I am so excited for her and for you just to continue on this journey of podcasting. And I know you're gonna do more than podcasting. This is again, just the beginning of something beautiful and something that is that you're going to grow into and just continue to blossom and blossom. So I'm excited to where you go next. So please tell the lovely audience where they can connect with you.
Yes, I'm Read the Room Podcast on all platforms, really Instagram and TikTok. I don't have like Twitter or nothing. On YouTube, on all streaming platforms, so YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, iHeartRadio if you use that, like anything like that. But I do have a video podcast, so if you want to actually see me and see all my faces and reactions and emotions, I suggest you check me out on YouTube or Spotify. And it's Read the Room Podcast, REED, because it's my last name. And that's where you can find me.
Yes. So all of this information will also be in the show notes for you guys to check her out. Please make sure to check out her podcast. She will be dropping another episode soon, I'm sure. And will it be the one with your guest, right?
No, I have one. I have one and I have the one with the guest. There's gonna be one in between there, but the guest is coming. Oh no, she's coming.
Okay, I gotta start.
No,
sorry.
No, you're good. You're good. Really, it's like it's time.
No, she's definitely coming up with another podcast episode, and we're definitely going to tune in. So thank you so much, Alexis, again for pulling up to the studio and sharing your presence with us and your wisdom and just your life. Okay, this has been such a joy. So thank you guys for tuning in to another episode of Your Divine Glow podcast. I'm truly grateful for all of you, and I will catch y'all in the next episode. Until then, continue to let your divine glow shine, babies. Peace.